I have taken a rest for some days from recording my podcast. But yesterday it's happened something that I wanted to talk about with you. And there is confirming about that those ancestors that we have, our loved ones and those is connected with us in some way, they live behind the veil, and they try to take contact with us. But often is it those church people, church leaders, those that take care of beliefs and tell us what they want us to believe in, or what they want us to not believe, and what is demons and what is good. And we live in the last days, and those things that have been talking about being good, it start to be bad, and the bad things started to be good. So it have changed. 2015 was it when it started to change much in the world we can see. And I get people that say I have contact with demonic things because they don't know, and they talk from the devil because they are children from the devil, and the devil is not scared about the church. He can stand in the pulpit and teaching in the church in that way he wants us to believe. So that's why I am not in any religion. I only know that God exists, and I'm more clean than when I started in this, to place in knowledge inside me. But the sad thing is that I don't get so much people believe in what I say, because there is so much whispering in ears that this is demonic, and that I belong to those other people that do readings. I belong to that, they say, that is demonic, but mine is different, because I don't want them to come. I don't ask them to come. They are coming to me, and I don't earn any money from it. I don't even want to be famous. I only want to tell you what I see and hear from the behind the veil, and what they're teaching me. And so that is this with the Facebook. I have written down everything that have happened, and it have been very hard to do it, because those demons, those evil people, they try to push me down and tell people that I'm you should not listen at her, you should not read her post. And I have had maybe 25,000 people, and that have been from all kind of belief system that I have had as a friend, but no one is active on my profile side, because Facebook have make it so people can it can be a one direction communication, and those people that I have as a friend, so-called friends, they want me to listen at them and they want me to read their post, but they don't want to read my post. They don't want to watch my videos. So it's only one way communication, and that's on their side, and they don't take part of what I write on Facebook. But God knows it. God sees it. So I work for God. I know that I work for God because He have told me. I work to judge people. I don't judge, but God see what they are doing and what they are saying and what they are doing, and He's signed them. Not they are not signed into the book of life. There is another book, but it's not really a book, because if you are not in the book of life, you are in the book of death. And these people, because they are leaders in the churches, and God knows if they are from the devil, and God knows how many people they have killed in the spirit, that people stop and not looking and search for God. They accept Jesus as God, and then they don't go forward. That means that they be killed in the spirit, because the church don't want them to move forward. They only stop in the gate where Jesus is standing. But there is another fold. There is another fold. It's twofold, like it is the book of life and the book of death. It's two books in heaven, and it's two folds in heaven. And the first fold is Jesus' fold, and the other door to next fold is closed for those people that listen at the preachers in the church that is from the devil. And the devil have worked since day one to go into to be the flock leader. And he, of course, doesn't want to be a leader of the biggest, the most important fold. He wants all people to be in fold one, but stop it to go forward to fold two, where they come to know God, the real God that have created everything. He have created Jesus also. He have created the devil also for to test people, or else it have not been nothing that God can see if there is people that follow him, that do what God wants us to do. If it was not the devil, he is a tool for God, because the devil make the test, and if they follow him, then they are out from to be in the city. They can. Some people are nice, even if they are follow the devil, and they can be out in the meadow around the city. But those people in the small fold, the little flock that follow God, the true God, they are in the city in heaven. They are in the New Jerusalem, in the city. But those other people that have working good work, but they have not going into that gate for the second fold. They can't never be in the city. They can play around like small children, like the Bible is saying. The dead, they don't know anything. And those that is in the meadow, they don't know anything. They are like children. They don't need to know anything. They only know how to play, jumping around and playing and kidding and make jokes to each other and like this, light things. But those in the city, that's the people that have searched for God, that have been truly in their heart looking for God. So yesterday it come up these memories, and it was for 7 years ago, and it's 7 is a holy number, and I feel the spirit of someone here with me now, because what I'm talking about, what I will talking about, and I have there is a picture, and it's like a tree with many branches, and I saw it in a vision that the tree was in a special area on the map, that tree, and I wrote these things. I'm going to read what I wrote. I thought it was over with the tree, but it come back again this night. It started with I saw one branch, and I thought it was a sign of Jesus with his what he had on the head, the thorn of the crown of thorn, but it wasn't. But I didn't know what I saw. So it started with one branch in the night showing me. And then it started with more branches together. So I wrote this. I thought it was over with the tree, but it come to me again this night. This time did I had a piece of map behind it. The map covered the whole backside. What does it mean? I could not read where I was from. No city, nothing to take from. The map had no big cities or much roads, but it had a frame in it like it means a special place. and not whatever place. I hope I will be showed where this place are from God, and it will move, and I will move there if it is a psychical place that exists for real, or else is it a symbol for something. I didn't know. This is how God are many times. He give me like rebus. Sometimes everything is once, but also like this piece by piece. How many pieces have this rebus? These pieces have got so far. 1. It started that I saw a branch of a tree coming out from my wall at the side of my bed. I thought it was a part of Jesus' crown. This was for 18 months ago. That was what I write for 7 years ago. So it started about 9 years ago. So I tell you, it doesn't come very quick, everything. It takes time. And it doesn't matter how, as long as we still are here on this planet, that God can take his time. And he is the time, and but in heaven there is no time. But here on earth, God is time. And 2, for a long time I had like bushes flying around in front of my eyes. They was in all directions, flying around in my bedroom when I was awake. I say that with the big letters. I was awake. People the whole time telling me that I'm dreaming, but I get vision, and I am awake when I get vision. I was awake in my bed before I was so awake, so I sat me up in the bed. When be real awake, they was gone. It is when I am in total relaxed mood I get these messages. I get it very much because I never get any nightmares anymore. So when I wake up, I often are singing and laughing. And that was for 7 years ago. No, I don't need to be in this total relaxing mood, because I am in the relaxing mood most of the time. And 3, then for some days ago did I wake up and a tree stood still, so I could see it was like knots on them. So it was on the way to growing out twigs from the branches. Maybe it will grow out something from the knots. And it have done that. And 4, this night waking up and I saw this picture, the tree with a map behind it. And it's so very clear for me today what the vision was about. Because then when I was in Jerusalem, I heard a voice telling me that I should do my DNA. And when I did my DNA, the voice said that I should enter into the Mormon church, because they have the best research about ancestors. And when I come in there, I knew I have to be baptized into the church because I that's make it open all the research places I didn't need to pay for to do the research on my DNA. And it was not a missionary that told me to come to the church. It was God that told me that I should go into the church. And I do whatever God tell me to do. And even if I had been in my search for a church when I come back from United States in 2004, I was around in my city and I was into the Mormon church. But the Mormon church was so evil, so I couldn't stay there. So I was in that church maybe 3-4 times, and no one welcomed me into the church, into the ward. So I felt like I was not welcome there. So I left, and it took many years. It took 12 years for me to come back to the church, and because of my DNA, that I should do research. And if it have not happened anything if it wasn't that a woman, a girl, a missionary that took care of me in the church before I was baptized. And she said to me that you can come to Salt Lake City. I live in Salt Lake City. And you can go there and visit my parents, and you can sleep in my bedroom, she said. And that I took it as it was God that it used her as a tool for him. So after I have been baptized into the Mormon church, I went to Salt Lake City. And everything is like a path, right path, that God wanted me to do. Because in Salt Lake City, in the research center for family search, there was a man that I had a vision about, an angel coming to me before I left for Salt Lake City. An angel come in a vision, and the angel say that Jeff will help you, she say. And I didn't know what it was, but when I come up to the center of a family search, there was a man coming that should help me on the computer, and his name was Jeff. And it have not been something special if it wasn't that Jeff was sitting with me and we looking into I had names of my grandmother and those first ancestors related to me in a short period. And he saw that my grandfather's name, and I don't know. He must have had someone with him from heaven that make him do what he did, because he looked at my grandfather, and he pointed out on the computer, and he showed me that my grandfather, he was coming with his mother to a man that his mother married, and everyone was thinking that was his father. And Jeff, he said that he was adopted of this man. That's not his real father, he said to me. And then he suddenly said to me that I'm going into the archive and give you some books, he said. And then he go into the archive and he come out with 2 big books. And when I opened the books, there was the sure name of most everyone that I have got in my DNA test, that they have sent me those names that I had the DNA together with. And it was royals and nobles, and I didn't really knew what I was looking at, because I have not had more than I have seen those names, but I have not done any research on those names. But when I come back to Sweden, I researched on my grandfather, if I could find his real father. And I could do it, because when I get many sure names, that I have many that was connected with, and those names showing up the whole time, and they have other names written up, and they have done a DNA test, they also. And then I saw that the connection was to my grandfather, but in another way. So there was a man showing up the whole time. And then I did a research on that sure name, that man that showing up in those other trees. Then to my surprise, I saw that my great-grandmother, she had been married to this man. She had been married 3 times, and that man she married was the father of my grandfather. And then it started everything. It was royal and nobles. He was noble man, that was the father of my grandfather. And everything started to show up. And now the whole branches is going down to Jesus. And the Mormon church believe that Jesus was married to one of these Frank tribe, the Frank tribe, a princess of this Frank. That is what is the name of France. It's coming from that kind of people. And they were down in Palestine, and they were in Israel. And because they were follow the Roman Catholic Church. And that one princess, she was married to Jesus Christ. Married to Jesus, not Christ, Jesus. And they have one child together. And I feel like it's very strange if Jesus have not been married in his 30s. That was an old age in that time. And that he he say that to the people, his disciple. He say to his disciple Jesus, he say, don't say I'm good. You tell me that I'm good, but I'm not good. Only the Father is good, he say. His Father is God. It's not him that is God. And that's what he's saying. He did most everything that what we other have done. I have been a big sinner in my life, but now I'm not. I'm trying to be as clean as I can from everything of the world. But before, I was a big sinner, and it's not that God is looking for a clean vessel to take as his child. He creating in us cleanness. It doesn't matter if it's not a stubborn person, or those stubborn people are mostly from church. They have raised up with the church and have got like a brainwash. They have got the mark of the beast, thinking that in another way. He's not only a Christian, like believing Jesus is God, but also other belief system in this world that have going wrong. Many have, all the belief system have things that is right, but many things is not right in those religious system. But I can always pick up something that is right in what they are saying and what they're believing in. But they are not 100% right. And the Mormon church is not right either, 100%. And I know that's why I am in that church, to help them to do the right thing, because now they are going in wrong direction, because there is so much about Jesus that we should believe in Jesus as God. And they say, the president is saying that Jesus was God of Israel, and it's so wrong. So they start to be poisoned, the Mormon church also. But I say that about belief. I say that the Mormon church is the belief system, that church that is the most right, that have so much things that I know from God that other church doesn't have. So they are the most right, but they are not right, and they're going into the wrong direction. And that's why God wants me to work on them. But it's so very hard, as I am a woman, and a special Mormon church doesn't want to have any women be involved in their belief system, in believing. They don't want women to talk like they're hearing from God. And when I have say something that I heard from God, those leaders in the church, they say, you should not talk about it, because that's your personal testimony for yourself and not for other people to hear. So they stop those things. If a woman tell them that they hear from God, they tell them to that's only for you and not for other people to know. So they stop women to go forward in that church. They have some symbolic power. Women have symbolic power in Mormon church. So they say that those women are equal in the Mormon church, but they are not. That is far from it. And in the Joseph Smith's days, I was in the Pioneers Museum, and I read what it was saying in those things they had to show. And I saw that the Mormon church in Joseph Smith's time, they lay hand and healing people in the church, the women. And today it's only it's only men that can lay hand and heal people. So the women have been taken away from what Joseph Smith say and did, and he was on his way to make more power to women when he was killed. Some Mormons say that was killed from the inside, but they pay people to kill Joseph Smith. But it was other people that have paid for it. That's what they say in the Mormon church. I don't say it, but it can have happened so that they didn't like that Joseph Smith started to make women be equal with men in the church, that women have more power. That was on its way when he was killed. And then when another man took over the church, he stopped women to come forward. And that's what God want them to see in me, that I have the healing power, and I have done healing inside the church without they know that I have done it. But there have been people that ask me for healing, and I have to heal them with that energy of healing that I got when I was 3 years old, when I died, and God healed me when I was dead. And that energy, that healing energy that I got when I was a child, that I can use for healing people. So I have done healing many times, and there is healing in many more than only healing for diseases, the body healing. There is other sorts of healing that I have done, and it's many things that comfort people, and that's when I don't touch mental sick people, but when they are coming, to me and ask for healing for the mental sick children, for example, then I tell them that I don't lay hand on mental sick people, but I can lay hand on you and make a healing for you to understand your child better, to hear what the child is saying and to comfort you. And then I lay hand on them and not on mental sick. So there is so much other healings ways, but people think that the healing is only about the body, but it isn't. But of course the mind is a part of the body. But I'm talking like the mind is out from the body. In some way it is. Because they can do things with the body without have the brain. So that's how I thinking. And so it's have been confirmed so much that what I'm talking about here, it's true. It is. I am not here to make a different belief system. I'm here to heal the churches there is. If I can heal the Mormon church, it have many people around the world that should make a very big difference if it could happen. And I don't know as I have no control over what's going on. And people should not judge me to go into the Mormon church and be a member of the Mormon church. I do what God is telling me to do. And if it's a way to heal the world by going into the Mormon church and talk to those leaders that I have done. I talked to the leaders of the Mormon church when I was in Salt Lake City. But I don't know if they understood what was going on, because they are marked of the beast by not seeing women as coming from God. There's so many that say that a woman can't hear from God. And that's not true. That's a lie from the devil. And I don't believe in the devil, but I know he exists, as I have seen him and been confronted with him and almost be killed of him. I don't believe in him, but I know he exists. But I believe in God, and he exists. So thank you for... there is a spirit coming through. I can't end it now because what I'm going to take with me my surf plate and place me to a better place for the spirit to come through. I was sitting on my computer, my laptop, and read about the Facebook things. So now I'm back to where I mostly are recording, where I'm recording my podcast. So I will see what's going on. And you know that it's always most of the time in the end of my recording of the podcast, there is spirits coming through. But I told you that from the beginning it was a spirit here. And it's of course I should understand it, that it was a woman that should come through, because I'm talking about women. So she was from the start. They know what's going on 1 hour from now, for example. They know the whole our life, the whole life. So that was easy for her to know that I should talk about women in the church. And so she's coming forward, and she says she has something with her to us, to you and me. She said she have like a stick, a thick, like a walking stick, but it's not a really walking stick. It's more like a shape of a pin, and she places it in the ground. And she said, this is what it is. She says, in the same time she placed this stick into the ground. She said that that's her way to pointing out that she do everything to help me to get the power for us women that hear from God. And she said that she's showing me very much wind is almost like a storm is on her. And she said that's only men that is in the storm. There is no women that is against it in their heart, because they know who they are, and they know that they hear from God, and they are stopped only. They have been stopped and been forced to think that men only hear from God, and men have all the power. And she say we strive against the storm in the spirit world. From heaven we work against those men's proud that make us not come forward because we are women. And that's not of God, because God, He talking to both genders, both men and women. He talked to those that is not reading books. He talked to those that is reading the books. He talked to those people that doesn't read the books. And he talking to those people walking on the street. And he talking to people that is in the temple. He is talking to everyone. And as you have told your listener that a little dog can change things, So everything that is living can God use to give a message to people. And so why doesn't men accept that a woman was a woman, she holds a baby boy in her womb. She carry those men inside her. And the baby become a part of her. When being born, he have both his father's side and the mother's side being born. So why should not women be equal with men to come to hear from God? On those women that is born of this woman, they have the father side and the mother side inside them. So they are equal with a baby boy that is born. And the baby boy born and the girl baby born, they have the same equal. They are coming from the same source. They're coming from one father, both of them. So they have the father in them. And that's when you realize that, you see how foolish and proud it is for men to say that women doesn't hear from God. And if they hear from God, is it only for personal use, personal testimony, not for telling other people that they hear from God. But men can talking about God and do act in what they hear from God. But this woman can't do that. She stopped. And there some leaders let women talk, but it's very few that allowed it, and it should be much more, because in God's way to see the human, God's way to see his creation, that his creation is equal. They are working together. They are not going to be helpmates in that way that those men that have translated, interpret those fragments of the Bible that they have found. Those men put it like women should be a helpmate to the man, when it is the truth from God is that they should be equal when it comes to spirit work. In the home, there is the man that is the head of the family in their home, but in the spirit is not the home. The spirit have no home. The spirit have no house. The spirit is free. The spirit have no limits. So that's in the spirit, women and men should be equal. But in the home, there you can have different roles, but not in the spirit. The spirit, she's showing me like a peak, like a triangle. So it's coming from the home, a triangle, and it's a triangle that sit outside that house. She showed me like a house, and it's like a peak out from the home, and that's where the spirit is. The spirit have no house. The spirit is free. The spirit is a spirit can talk to another spirit, and God is a spirit. So he talked to your spirit, and it have no limit of if you are a woman or if you are a man. The spirit have no gender. The spirit is one. So that's what she wanted to come forward to talk about. So I thank her for coming forward to teach us. I knew these sort of things, but it's good to get a voice that someone from behind the veil that's come from heaven is telling us these things. That like she confirmed it, what many of us know it already, but it's good to get it confirmed from heaven. So I thank you, and I thank you for listening, and I hope you want to listen more on my podcast. I have reached at least 1,000 downloads on my podcast, so I'm glad that I'm happy if I can reach one, but it's over 1,000. Next time I see something, it's that they tell me that is 5,000 downloads. Next time we'll see if it reached that, but it doesn't matter, because I am only thankful if I can reach one person with this. It's not about amount of downloads. It's matter if you understand this and grow into this coming closer to God, that you understand that you have all the helps from your loved ones and those that is connected to you in some way, people that you have met in your life that have passed away, that they won't so very much help you to come to God, to understand what's going on around you, all these dimensions, all those worlds that is around you, that so many leaders try to stop for you to get connected with. So, thank you for listening, and God bless you.